I'm from Alabama.
Me too.
No fucking way.
I'm from Huntsville.
Fort Payne. I used to live right outside of Huntsville in Arab, Alabama.
Ooh, I know about Arab.
I wrestled in Huntsville at Buckhorn.
Hold on, though.
Buckhorn.
I know about Arab, though.
Arab. You
don't let the sun go down.
I know, dude. That's crazy. It's crazy.
That's the rumor.
No, you know the craziest place in Alabama?
Where?
Look, this is crazy. It's going to be on recording. Henniger.
Henniger. Nigger.
But look. Henniger.
Where is that at? Yeah.
It's a sunset town.
Where is it at?
It's on Sand Mountain in between Scottsboro and Fort Payne.
I know it's
Sand Mountain. And and Rainsville.
Where you?
Shalom, this is Sharbon Shrella out of Lions Den Camp. Look at it here, just for Florida. First and foremost, I'd like to praise, honor, and glory to the Father and the Son in the proper true Hebrew tongue. Call Halam La, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Abishai, Ba'ashem Ha, Rukah, Kudash Shema Moth. Also, double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS. Double honors to my as well. A hard one by Sharala. Peace and blessing 1/3. And salutations to those for elect. This lesson is going on just the reality, about people, the inverse of the hatred and the liking. Ultimately, Esau hate us, and you can see it's kind of engraved throughout this whole system. This is what systematic racism, man. Ultimately, Edomite supremacy. So it's engraved economically and systematically into this place Babylon here. But and then of course on the opposite side you have you got people. You have 2/3 of people who are seen as idols, these American idols, seen as gods or powerful, so on and so forth. These jesters ultimately, these celebrities, sports, entertainment, comics, whoever. They're seen as good because cause they have bread and circuits, because ultimately they have money, because they have power, they have fame. But that power is nothing. They don't have what Esau have, of course. And on top of that, they don't have nothing. They don't have the spirit, and that money is cankered. That's ultimately Esau's money, and that money is gonna be used against himself. I mean, that money is gonna be used against himself. Literally, it's gonna be as a it's gonna be a basically, it's going to be him being caught red-handed. Everything he has right now is what the Lord going to see him with. And once he catch him with as soon as he catch Esau with the cookie, he's going to as soon as he take a bite, that's when the Lord's going to destroy this place. He's going to destroy this place of Babylon. All right? He's going to turn this place to a nuclear lake of fire. A fallout zone. Not a fallout, completely. It's going to be done away with. But nonetheless, with our people, you have, as you see in the video, you had sundown town still prevalent across here in Babylon, and then on the opposite end of it, I ain't gonna show no videos because you can just use your imagination. You have these celebrities who are exalted because of their folly, not because of them not being hated. They just exalted because they have money. They have some type of it's showing off the salt that we naturally have, that Jake naturally have, but they're getting paid for it, and they get to live deliciously and lavish. But of course those benefits come at a price. It comes with your soul and your spirit. If you're not believing in the Lord Yahweh by myself right now, while the time is nigh, the time is right now, man. This is the time for not saying you can't be rich and like that, but the time is now for the worshipers to worship Yahweh by Shemashai with sincerity and truth, indeed, man. So this is that time right now. So I'm gonna get Ezekiel chapter 35, as you're going on the point of Esau hating us. It says, because thou had a perpetual hatred, and that shed the blood of the children of Israel, Yasharallah, he's a prince of power. This is by the force of the sword. All right, so this way he has been doing for the past 500 years. He has been shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. He had us in a hardcore bondage slavery, and now since Abraham's proclamation, we've still been in course slavery, but it's just different rules, different regulations to where you can still do whatever you want to us, almost, but it's just different consequences. Esau might get a consequence, he might not, but nonetheless, he's still gonna do what he do. He's still gonna be the devil he is and try to mass unalive people, and mass unalive our people or people in general. That's how Esau operates. He wanna destroy everything on this earth. That's his whole duty, is to be this devil and to be the physical counterpart of Satan, and he's doing it quite well. All right. I'm gonna just read the rest of this. It says, "And has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end." All right. So even though it's it was about time for us to stop, man. Esau still gonna make sure that the sword is on us, that affliction and all its systems are against the people of Israel, that are against the people that believe in Yahweh Shai, or the people that are the children of Yahweh Shai. So 2/3 are just one of Esau's the jesters are Esau's puppets. But hey, so is Esau. So Esau ultimately still creation of the Most High. So what he done and his works is gonna follow him, and so ultimately you're gonna reap what he sows. All right, and you live by the sword, you're gonna have to die by the sword, man. I thought it would be informational just to see what a sundown town is, what Jake and Edomite were talking about. This is a sundown town where all Edomite municipalities or neighborhoods in the United States that initially excluded non-Edomite individuals, primarily Jake, but sometimes, from living or remaining in the town after sunset, enforced through threats, ordinance, or violence. This widespread form of racial segregation peaked between 1890 and 1968, but we still have that today. Of course, like it's literally an inverse of each other, because now that there is not as many, now you have our people being able to be jesters and being their folly and having them riches are able to be exalted, because they instead of enslaving our people now, instead of having us in hardcore bondage slavery, Esau wants to make this place, of course, a desolate place. He want to make this place inorganic. He want to make it it's full with androids, and it's part of the New World Order. Get rid of everything organic and make sure everything is inorganic. He want to put his minds, he want to put his brain in robots. And this is what Esau wants for himself. So many Edomites think their brain is a national treasure and should be preserved throughout history, throughout time. But that should go for the people that made everything in Babylon. As far as the cell phone, the fan, the AC, the car, the plane, that was all made by Jake. But their heads are not preserved or nothing like that, because that's not how our people are. We don't got to preserve that. The Lord ultimately allowed us to do that. That's our God. That's our power. Esau's power is nobody, man. His power is a sword, and he's gonna live by it. He has been living by it, and for that, he has to die by it as well. All right. All right. This is Psalms chapter 83, verse 4. It says, "They have said." Psalms 83, chapter 4. It says, "They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." So this is what all the nations across the four corners of the earth would like to do to our people. They're confederate against us, and of course they're confederate against the one that made us, our Father, the Most High. So everyone's gonna be against us, man. They ultimately against the Most High, Yahweh Shai. That's how it works, man. That's how the cookie crumbles. So within that, we have to just humble ourselves and know that we are the creations. We should try to follow our Creator, who can protect us from all these things. It's with King David. You know, the men of the Lord throughout history, they called on the Lord for when they're low, and when the enemy ultimately these heathens and Esau and are against them. So they call on the Lord for help. They call on the Lord to be their strong tower of defense and their shield and buckler. All right, so that's what we got to do in these times. All right, so when Esau, even two of our people nowadays, and heathens are against them, especially the men of the Lord, and that's what it's all about right now. That's always what it always has been about. You know, it's not simply about the color. You know, we're not color prophets. You can be as dark as me, you know, but you can be a Hamite, or you can be a Moabite, or a Japhite, or whatever, or a Edomite. So it don't really matter about that. It matters about the bloodline, and ultimately about the spirit. If you're not one of the men of the Lord, or a woman of the Lord, or a child of the Lord, then you are gonna the Lord gotta do what He gotta do. All right. But this is what the people, this is what the heathens and once again two of that people and Esau have trying to done for the past, I guess you could say 4,000 years. You know, you say 2,000. That's where they built their monopoly at. But I'm gonna go on some more. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 6. It says, "Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place." All right, so that is what our people are known for. That's what our people are able to be famous and have quote unquote power for. They have riches for, is because they have folly. All right, because they're foolish. They, most of our people are just poets nowadays. They're comics. They're jesters. They're poets or comics or like a huntsman. They do sports and whatnot. Then they're not known for serving the Most High Yahweh Shemashai and getting their wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and abilities from Yahweh Shemashai, and ultimately doing the work of the Most High. All right, they're known for just doing what they're good at and doing it on a national scale and on TV where it's televised and they're really good at it and it's entertaining. That's one thing. That's cool to be the salt. There's nothing wrong with dancing and knowing how to do good stuff. That's what we do. But to think that's your purpose on this earth, that would be foolish. Our purpose on earth is not to be the best football player, the best basketball player, the best anything worldly. We're supposed to be the best man, woman, child we can be for the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. All right. All right, this is Jeremiah chapter 5 verse 28. It says, "They are waxing fat, they shine, and they overpass the deeds of the wicked. They judge not the cause of the fatherless, and they prosper. And the right of the needy do they not judge." All right. So to those people, once again, man, they have surpassed the deeds of the wicked. That's all they care about right now is getting money. So, cheddar, whatever you want to call it nowadays, and people care about that more than they care about themselves or the Lord or their family. And ultimately, if their family don't care about the Lord, then hey, so be it. But ultimately, this is the time we need to. This is the best time to be in that spirit of trying to follow the Lord. This is the best time because Esau is going to be at wit's end, knowing that he's cornered basically. He's cornered, so he's like that hungry tiger, hungry lion that's seeking to one he may devour. So guess what he's gonna do? He's gonna attack with full force. All right, so the devil is gonna come down with great wrath because he have but a short time. So they paraphrase in Revelations. But with that, yeah, man, that's what Esau's gonna do, and that's how he said his kingdom, man. It's a total inverse of one another, man. That our people can be unalive. They can be part of that. They can be a strange fruit. And then in another city, they looked at as an idol, a Babylonian idol, to where people have pictures on them in their wall, and people know where they're from and all these details, but they don't know what the Lord from or the Most High is doing for us, But hey man, that's how this place is set up. That's why the Lord need to come back, heal this place with that fire first. and then give his servants the kingdom of Yasharal, Jerusalem. All right. But Lord willing, that was an edifying little lesson. With that, I'll say shalom.